The important thing is not to think much, but to love much. I carry your heart with me, adapted from E.E. Cummings. I carry your heart with me. I carry it in my heart. I'm never without it. Anywhere I go, you go. And whatever is done by only me is your doing. I fear no fate, for you are my fate. I want no world, for beautiful you are my world. And it's you, and whatever a moon has always meant, and whatever a sun will always sing is you. Here is the deepest secret nobody knows. Here is the root of the root, in the bud of the bud, in the sky of a tree called life, which grows higher than soul can hope, or mind can hide. And this is the wonder that's keeping the start apart. I carry your heart, I carry it in my heart.
Good morning. I'm Skylar Nicolette McGeechee Campbell, but many of you know me by Skyy, or my stage name, Skyy Nicolette. My family is from Jamaica, West Indies, but the name McGeechee can be explained by my Scottish/Irish grandmother on my father's side. Anyway, as yesterday was Valentine's Day, and it is the season of love, I decided it would be a good idea to show everyone today that we all have one thing in common: a heart. My sister and I have always known my mom as a warm, kind-hearted person who always put others' needs before her own. To be honest, I thought it quite odd and kind of scary when my mom would do such surprisingly kind things, like, for example, stop to pick up strangers on the side of the road who seemed to really need a ride, especially if it were pouring rain. I would think to myself, what if that man whipped out a gun and shot us all right now in the car? That would be all she wrote. But my mom would never judge anyone before knowing him or her, and she is always the first to jump to the rescue, no matter the circumstance. My Aunt Rain, side note, my family is slightly obsessed with nature. I have a cousin named Ocean and a sister named Canyon, but that's a story for another day. Anyways, when I was little, my Aunt Rain told me the stories of how my mom, as a teenager, would mentor high school boys and girls, dropouts, teens on drugs, and even those older than she was. She told me my mom would go down to the shelter every week and send food and clothing to people she didn't even know in the Caribbean and Africa. I was not surprised though when I heard these stories, because I knew my mom had a huge heart. Growing up watching our mom, it makes sense why my sister essentially emulated mom's big heart and decided to turn her 100th day of school project in kindergarten into something bigger. And here I'd like to say happy 100 more days of school to my homies in the 6th form, /99 days, but who's counting? 100 Hearts is a charity that my sister and I started to help children with heart defects and prevent heart disease in children. It all started with an idea. For the 100th day of school, my sister was determined to create a huge heart mural out of 100 little sticky hearts. She begged my mom to drive to Michael's art supply store and find the correct small red, pink, and white hearts with a nice adhesive on the back. So demanding. Good thing she had a good plan. Next, she began to ask people to write the initials of someone they cared about or loved on each heart. When the person did this, she would say, "Okay, now give me a dime, please." Again, so demanding, but she would explain that the money would be matched and donated anonymously to the American Heart Association. She was 5 years old. When my mom found out that my sister was going around the local library asking people for money, of course she freaked, but then my sister calmed her down by saying, "Mommy, if 100 people had a heart, we could save 100 lives." That statement that my sister made to my mom became our charity's motto. If 100 people had a heart, we could save 100 lives. Now another part of my story. In the winter of 2011, my sister, mom, and I packed up and flew down to Jamaica, both to visit family in a warm climate and to donate money to the cardiac unit of a children's hospital. We decided we would stay through New Year's to bring in 2012 and my mom's homeland. The beautiful island breeze hitting our faces as we lay on the beach, sipping cola champagne, would surely put us in good spirits. However, our happiness did not quite match the happiness that came over us when we saw the faces of the people in the Bustamante Children's Hospital as they received the check that would help to cure so many children with heart defects. We were on the island where "no problema" is the motto. Then, on New Year's Day, January 1st, 2012, our trip took an unexpected turn. 10, 9, 8. We started the countdown, screaming at the television, counting down the seconds until the new year, along with all of the people in Times Square with whom we shared the mutual feeling of exhilaration. I remember feeling extremely happy and blessed to be surrounded by those whom I loved and whom I knew loved me. The room had a light, positive, and warm feeling to it, filled with joy and laughter, and my mom was smiling and gleaming as she always was in the place she called home, where her heart lay. 7, 6, 5. The next morning, I got out of bed, tired from the long night I had and hung over from all the sparkling apple cider I drank. I was in the kitchen looking for something to eat, listening to my mother on the phone. Yes, Ma. Yup, she kept repeating, so I knew she must have been talking to Grandma. Before I could reach for the bowl of beaten eggs, I heard my sister scream out, "Mom!" I ran out to the dining room where I saw my mother lying on the ground and my sister standing in front of her, yelling for Mom to get up, to move, to quit kidding around, but she didn't move. It seemed as if she wasn't breathing. On impulse, I ran to the telephone and dialed the Jamaican emergency number, 119. I don't remember what I managed to say to the receiver, but I remember hanging up feeling empty. This couldn't be real. What was going on? She just lay there, seemingly staring into space at nothing. She never blinked or moved. My sister nudged me and suggested that we put some clothes on Mom before the ambulance arrived. We took turns struggling to hold her up while the other put on her garments. I could not cry, but I wanted to. All I could feel was my heart pounding against my chest. Her limbs felt like dead weight, heavy and unmoving.